What's up? Here I have a post from News Talk FM, and they decided to roll Luke O'Neill back out. This is crazy to think this, that they decided to roll this guy out in 2025 after he's been disproven and called out by people like Ivor Cummins, for example, and also then you're very able to go online and see what has been said, particularly on the Joe Rogan podcast with RFK Jr. and the various other top doctors and top men of science in their fields talk about what Luke O'Neill was promoting only a couple of years ago and say, nah, that was a bad idea. Luke O'Neill hasn't come back out and said, no, that was a bad idea. He's not interested in the rising cases of suddenlies. He's not interested in the rising cases of cancers. Not interested in the rising cases of heart problems or anything like that. No. It's about continuing on what's been going on for the last number of years. How they've plucked this big board looking goofball out of the air and had him on airways over the last few years as some sort of arbiter of what is right and what is wrong is crazy to me. It's wild. Now, News Talk won't ever put it to him about the things that I've just said there at all. And in fact, there's been a number of videos that have come out where people have encountered and have confronted Luke O'Neill, and it seems like security and Gardaí have been called when those people have just asked him questions. I find that to be very strange. Because if you were able to stand over what you have done and indeed supported and promoted the last couple of years, you would be able to do so, no problem. But instead you've decided to run to security. Weird. Now this is wild to me, and I'm going to go through this here. Professor Luke O'Neill has said it is vital to ignore RFK Jr. and make sure you vaccinate your child against measles. I wouldn't trust this fella to tell me what the weather is like outside. I wouldn't. Honestly, that's a genuinely held belief. I think this guy is an absolute shitebag as far as I'm concerned. Now RFK, on the other hand, is a man that has worked in the EPA, is a man who hasn't lost a case, is a man that understands what has gone on, has talked in his book en masse about Anthony Fouchy. Anthony Fouchy wouldn't challenge RFK. When RFK challenged him on his findings and what he was saying, he asked for documents and proof, and it was never given to him by Fouchy. If you don't believe me, what I would suggest that you do is have a look at the Joe Rogan experience with RFK Jr. It is an eye-opener for people that don't understand what's going on. So to think that this guy, this absolute fucking flu, is any sort of moral authority or any sort of authority at all to be telling you not to be minding RFK is hogswash, to say the very least. Now I know a number of people, and this is starting to come out now big time, where people are talking about how their child was fine until the age of 2 years of age, and this has happened more so in the last decade or so. And they said fine until the age of 2, started getting pokes, for example, this one in particular seems to be the one that seems to be ringing the alarm bells, and all of a sudden, autistic. There's no interest from any of these people to see what the causation of that is. There's been a dramatic increase in it. And what people have been doing, and this is wild to think this, people have been saying over the last couple of years, oh yeah, they must have just locked them people away. They locked all of them away? There's nobody over the age of 50 that's seen anything to do with autism. And if they did, they're talking about Dustin Hoffman playing Rain Man. They're not talking about the serious stuff that goes on these days. They can't lock all of them away. It's not possible. So this thing didn't exist when you were growing up. Or if it did, it was existing in a very minute area of the population. And now it's exploded. Everybody knows someone. Everybody now has a family member that has it. What's the cause of that? To think that these guys are to defending this here is very suspect, is what I'd say. They then want to use the case of what happened over in America. Oh, look what happened over there. They won't tell you what happened though. They won't tell you what happened with regards to the child going into the hospital sick already. And then they decided then to give the poke, even though that's not recommended to do that. And then the child ended up going. But at the same time, they've no interest in telling you about the injury reports that have come from these very things here. They haven't talked about that at all. They haven't talked about those companies with long histories of criminal behaviour. They haven't talked about the suddenlies, the turbo cancers, the heart problems. Nothing. They haven't talked about that at all. Instead, it's all about that, the bottom dollar. And getting goofballs like this on to talk shy because that's what he's doing. If RFK was to debate this fella would piss his fucking pants. I doubt he would even debate RFK, because it'd be a quick and easy win as far as I'm concerned from RFK. And RFK, along with Joe Rogan, have actually challenged people like Luke O'Neill across America to come on and do live debates. They put up thousands in a charity run to do that, and the other party always declines. They don't want to talk to RFK. Very strange, that one, isn't it? So anyway, that's what's going on here in Ireland and what's happening with the media. They're rolling out people that were wrong about things a couple of years ago, when in fact you have guys like, and I want to shout him out again there because he did an awful lot for a lot of people's sanity over the last couple of years, in Ivor Cummins, by talking about what's going on and how things were transpiring. That's a guy with real knowledge. That's a guy that was correct in what he was saying. And instead of him being brought on and him talking about it and saying, yeah, look, what RFK is saying is reasonable, they've got this guy back on talking shit. Honestly, it goes to show you the state of the media in this country. It really does. Absolute state of it. Bringing on people that have done and said stupid things over the last couple of years to try and wax lyrical about more stupid things. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. The audacity of it is what gets me. I can't believe these people have this audacity. I can't believe they have the balls to be doing this. Really don't. After all that's happened over the last couple of years. And to try and say ignore the RFK. Oh my god. Absolute dumb fuck. Unreal. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. Look.